Everybody should know who Mr. Beast is. I personally don't watch his stuff, but I know the gist of what he is. He's
the most for younger people.
Yeah, he's like the most popular YouTuber.
Yep.
And he like he'll buy like 100 iPhones and throw them into the sea or something and say, "Go catch him. They're yours." That type of thing. I guess.
He also got like a whole village like cataract surgery and
yeah.
stuff.
No, he does he basically does giveaways and charity.
Yeah.
That's his main thing, right?
It's good stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm for it. I'm 100% for it. So he goes out there and he spends a huge amount of money to treat people or surprise people or whatever and get reactions to things.
Yeah.
And that's what he does, right?
Yeah.
So there's a guy in China who's not actually Mr. Beast.
At all.
But
really?
He's been doing a thing for a number of years. Maybe you can explain his 100 yuan thing. But 100 yuan, by the way, is... Okay.
It's like $20. What is it now?
Yeah, let's find out.
$14. Wow, that's dipped.
Yeah.
That's bad. It used to be like 20.
Yeah, so $14, right?
This is low audio. You just have it in the background. Just roll this. So this guy, right?
Yeah.
He got a big following in China because what he did was he started taking like a fixed amount of money, like 100 RMB. So let's say $15. Let's say $15, right?
Yeah.
And be like, what can we buy with this? And the idea was that look at how much prices have risen for things, right?
Yeah.
There's a bit of social commentary, but it was, very like law abiding. He's not going around like questioning the motives of the government and stuff. He's like, yo, listen, stuff's gotten really expensive, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it used to be this much, it's this much. Look at how little I can buy with this amount of money, right?
Sure.
And then he would go around and try to find ways to maybe save money. Oh, maybe I should buy this brand of milk or this brand of eggs. Or like this egg comes from the same farm as this expensive branded one, so you should buy the cheaper one.
Sure.
It's like consumer advice, right?
Yeah.
I know that this probably isn't fascinating to most people out there, but for some reason in China, this has a massive niche.
There's a lot to it because a lot of Chinese society, remember, it
goes on forever.
Oh, it does. Remember, it's like it was originally an agrarian society, and
yeah.
the whole thing of trade and buying and making deals and stuff is incredibly important. I mean, come on, your Chinese family, that's one of their biggest things is to look for sales and deals and how to, get the best, value for money and stuff. It's a huge part of Chinese culture.
It is.
Yeah. So.
Anyway, so Mr. East here, he goes around and he buys stuff.
Mr. What? East?
Mr. East.
Yeah, okay, that's cool, Mr. East,
I got it from chat. Mr. East goes around and buys stuff and shows people how to save money.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't about any sort of like, I'm going to go give money to people on the street.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was, in a way, like, here's how you can save money.
Yes. And what I'm trying to say is it morphed into something else, but really only with one video.
Yes.
Right? So what ended up happening here was, if you skip forward, you guys get the idea, right?
Yeah.
Go around showing prices. I don't think you guys give a shit about prices in China.
You don't want to know what the price of rice is, per gin or whatever?
This is, like, there was one of his things he did here, right?
Yeah.
Was he would do the 1 hour purchasing power wage challenge. So it started off like, how much can I buy with 100 RMB?
Yeah.
Then it became a little bit more interesting and niche by saying like, in China, or at least in Chengdu where he is, the average person makes 9 yuan per hour.
Yeah.
Right? 9 yuan being about $1.50. Right?
Sure.
By the way, that's normal in China. That's not a poor wage.
No, that's normal.
So like $1.50 per hour, what can I buy with that amount of money in a supermarket? Could I sustain myself with that wage, right? And so he'd go around and do that. But again, it morphed into something else. And we want to show you the clip in question here. The reason people started calling him Mr. Beast is because he did some sort of charity type thing.
Yeah,
Scroll
I'll get to it.
I ended up translating this. I didn't translate the whole thing because I'm just going to run you guys through some of the more mundane parts here. To give you guys some context before I tell you what happened. This is him talking about it afterwards.
So we'll go back to that?
Yeah, we're going to go back to that. It's not a big deal.
Okay, here it is.
So this is the clip in question.
I'll get us out of here.
挑战在成都随机找一位老年人，我带他去超市。
Well, let's read this out. What is it? It's like
so he goes. He's going to do a challenge in Chengdu, right? That's just an intro. Don't worry.
I know, but I want to see what he called it.
挑战
It's like Chengdu challenge. Find a random elderly person
在成都随机
and take them to the supermarket
找一位老年人，我带他去超市，用他一天的
and use their one-day pension to go shopping. So I mean, that makes sense, right? So you're like, how much does your pension pay you?
If you broke it down.
Yeah, so you get this much amount, so how much is it for a day? Yeah. And then we're going to see how much you can buy with that.
And what he ended up doing is using her month's pension worth of money.
Yeah, as you'll see. He tried to he tried to flag down a bunch of old people and they all like get lost and they were ignoring him, and then finally one woman stopped to talk to him. Well, let's just see what happened.
来购物，我来买单。你来成都是在这儿？
我跟着儿子呀。
跟着儿子来这儿的，来这儿多久了
？6年我就在这打工，我老伴儿走了，就跟着儿子在。
那你之前做什么工作呢？
我啥工作不得，就是跟那些当保姆做家具。
那你现在有收入吗？
没得收入了，都没得，我78了。
没有养老金吗？
没得。
那孩子现在做什么呢？
孩子工程师，他有2个儿子，还在读书，要用钱。
那你平时花钱怎么办呢？
花钱，就是我家找他。
那这是去干嘛呢？
我去买个米呀。
这样，我跟你去超市，你买什么，我来给钱。今天要买点什么？
我就是买点米，我也没几个人。
咱们今天给婆婆买点米，也要买点肉。
就是1个月那个笼包，107块。
一个月给你107块。
That's the most important thing here. Okay, so she, for those of you who are listening, perhaps she's got a sob story about like, oh, I came here with my son and I have to try to do little bits of work here and there, but right now I don't have an income.
Yeah.
The most important thing though is that her pension amounts to 107 RMB a month.
Yeah. So when she used to be a nanny and make a furniture, she was making 300 a month, right? Yeah. So that's like what, $30 a month. But now she's relying on her pension, which is it's called agricultural insurance, which is pension. It's a pension for like farmer types, right, out in the country, rural people.
Sure.
So she's talking about it being 107 RMB, so that's $15 a month.
Yeah, right? So $15 a month pension. Now, I'm sure a lot of you out there are starting to realize why this guy was canceled. Because if you know anything about the Chinese propaganda, their number one thing is that nobody's poor in China anymore, that, they've done all this poverty alleviation.
Yes.
And I think we can all agree that $15 a month for a pension is not lifted out of poverty in the slightest.
No.
Because to live off $15 a day is tough for most people, never mind in a month.
I mean, what is it, like over 60% of China or something lives on less than like, I don't know, some ridiculous amount, $5 a day or something. Yeah. Anyway, so here, this is the context, is that she gets 107 RMB a month. So he's figuring this out during this interview as his friend films this.
And she's saying everyone gets that.
Yeah.
我们来到永辉超市啊，就一个孩子吗？
只有1个孩子，儿子这从哪一家回来还没找到工作，他是工程师噻。
Yeah, okay, so he's going around and like, oh, let's get some rice, let's get some this and
She's really nice. She's like, she doesn't want to take the piss and like get expensive stuff. She's just picking out stuff that she would normally get.
Yeah. But he's like, have a little more, because he's paying, So at the end of the day, he wants to spend her instead of an daily pension, he ends up spending the same amount as her monthly.
That's the context you need to understand, is that before he's like, I'm going to go find out how much a pension is per day and spend that on someone, right? But it turns out it's so low that he's like, I have to spend the whole month's pension on their stuff.
And I mean, the thing is that he reiterates here that your pension from the government is $15 a month. He keeps asking her that, and she keeps confirming that, this is the embarrassing thing to the Chinese government.
今天咱们就买107的东西。
He goes on, and so he confirms that, we're going to buy $15 worth of goods today, right? You keep playing. So they pick out some meat. She said, I've never had meat before, which she actually means like, I don't eat meat.
Yeah, that doesn't mean I've never eaten meat before.
Kind of like if you say like, it's like
I'm dirt poor.
I'm dying of hunger.
Yeah,
right. It's like I'm dirt poor is a good one. So he picks out some meat, gets her an extra meat. He asked her, like, do you have a fridge at home? Because she's going to have to put this extra meat in there. He bought her a couple extra pieces of meat.
Yeah. And this is quite common, especially in the rural areas. It's like, I'll put it in my neighbor's fridge, because she doesn't have a fridge at home.
No, so she's not going to be able to store the extra meat.
Yeah, so let's see.
He goes and picks out some eggs for her and stuff, and trying to, like, basically get her enough food for the month. so she doesn't have to ask her son
very
for
generous,
money.
very nice of him.
Yeah. And in the end, it ends up being 127. So that's like, it ends up being about $20 US for all that stuff. And then, actually, I thought this was kind of funny. The checkout lady goes, "What department are you from?" Like asking prying questions. Like basically, you have to understand the context. You're not allowed to go around and film interviews with people.
No.
Right? This is actually illegal in China.
Yeah.
And people are paranoid about it too because there's so many notices that go out about not spreading rumors and all this kind of stuff. So people immediately get suspicious.
Sure.
And he's like, he gets kind of snippy with it.
It's like mind your own business.
Yeah,
basically.
mind your own business. Like, what? You have a problem?
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So Mr. East talks to her a little bit on the way out, and he's like, basically right there, he said, like, "What's your income?" She's like, "I don't have an income," right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's just chatting with her on the way out, and gets to know this rural lady's kind of position, gets to understand her situation, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you looked at this from the outside, this is like the most normal ass video ever in history.
Yeah, it's
of
it's a feel good video. Like
Yeah.
you're helping an old lady, like giving her a month's worth of groceries, basically.
Yeah.
In a day.
So go on to this. I want to show you some screens after this. Something very, very bad happened, like right after this went up. Mm-hmm. This is getting a lot of attention, and it wasn't getting attention because it was shocking people. It was getting attention because people were like, "Yep, that's what my grandma has to deal with. Yep, that's my neighbor." Everyone knows someone that makes this little, right?
Yeah.
And either that or some people from the the center of the city is saying, "Wow, it's so dire out there," and this is actually in the center of Chengdu. This is not even in a rural area.
Yeah.
Right. So people are like, "This is a little bit shocking."
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, all of his accounts. Well, he had his Weibo was big, and then his Bilibili was pretty big.
Yeah. All of his social media
out.
accounts got shut down.
Yeah. They basically just wiped him off the internet.
Yeah.
And you can see here if you try to go to his
Yeah, this is Bilibili, which is like YouTube, basically.
it's like YouTube. It's got more like anime type stuff. But anyway,
well, it's kind of anime themed, but it's the same kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, he gets wiped off of that. People are like, "What's going on?" So turns out, if you go back and see some of the discussion, people were talking about it.
Yeah.
And people are like, "This is ridiculous."
Sure.
Is like basically people are saying, in China, have we gotten to the point where you can't even show real life? Yeah. And then people started making jokes. They're like, it must be the American foreign forces. They hired this old woman to pretend like she's poor.
Yeah.
And some of the best commentary I saw was really self-affirming for us, and I wish it wasn't self-affirming.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Xi Jinping declared that poverty had been eradicated in China, right? And we said, absolutely not. I mean, we have literal video footage of villages that haven't changed at all, that are in deep, deep, deep poverty. And it's not that poverty was eradicated. What actually happened was poverty didn't go away. It just became illegal to say that there was poverty in China. Yeah. And we really didn't want that to be true. We would hope there was some sort of reform leading up to that, but that's actually not true. And you can see this from this video. You are not allowed to show that China is still poor.
Well, not that long ago, we reported on that guy who filmed the rural wedding.
Yeah.
And the rural wedding, everyone's like really like without shoes, sitting on the floor, on the dirt floor, eating.
But it wasn't
like
a protest
scraps.
piece.
No, it was just like,
It was a
hey,
wedding.
he was literally filming like a relative's wedding or something, and he got all his accounts banned for showing that.
I believe he got arrested.
Yeah, I think he did. Anyway, this is kind of where it's at right now. You don't know about the poverty in China because no one's allowed to talk about it. And when somebody does something as innocent as this,
yes,
helping an old lady buy groceries because her pension is nothing, may as well be nothing every month. It's an embarrassment to the government. It goes against this whole poverty alleviation thing that they're saying. And so what do? They just get rid of their problem by deleting all of his accounts and saying this never happened.
One user, I mean, I just wanted to point out and highlight a lot of these Chinese netizens here that the vast majority of them are not stupid. Sure. But the only way they can kind of protest this removal of his accounts is to make jokes out of it, right? Yeah. So one person, if I translate this, it basically means like he deserves to be banned because actually he was very deceitful. Because he originally, like he's spreading rumors and stuff, and he lied. Because he originally said he was only going to spend 1 day's wage, but he spent a whole month's wage. So that content should be removed.
Yeah, for that reason. Yeah, that's funny. Yep.
And I love the ones that were like, the thing that people in China are making fun of right now is the Chinese government constantly blaming America for everything. Yeah. And there was a lot of netizens in China that were like, "Oh, it must be the damn Americans."
Yeah,
up to
exactly.
no good. It's absolutely sad though, because his response was really important. He, to sum it up, he goes on and made like an account on another thing that wasn't banned yet.
Yeah.
And he goes, "All my stuff's gone."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he goes on to say, "I didn't go out there to be some sort of great mover of society. I'm not going out there to be some massive, famous like person that's changing the world.
Yeah.
I just wanted to earn a little money, by making videos, right? And at the same time, maybe change society a little bit for the good, right? Just to show the good in people, right?" And if he was shocked. You can see the shock in his face. He's like, if that's what gets you removed here in our country, and we get punished for that, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Because it is such a freaking, it's a baseball bat to the kneecaps to anyone that wants to do anything good in China. I think it is, this one user said it best. He or she said, if this is where China is, then we have to acknowledge what our society has become. Our society has become a place where the Chinese government, where our government needs people to not only be apathetic, but to not be charitable at all. Because if you're charitable, you're standing out above everyone else. You're getting too much attention. You're showing the world that China is not fully developed yet, right? And that's a big problem. So they're trying to beat it out of us. It's better if we are callous and hate each other than to actually be a cohesive society. And a huge thing in Chinese propaganda is that we are collectivists. We take care of each other. We are unified. We are nationalists. We love our country and stuff. But actually, the Chinese government wants people to be nationalists and loyal to the state. They want them to hate each other.
Yeah.
Like, for lack of better words.
I mean, that's why you have all the problems with no good Samaritans and things like that, you know? Yeah, it's a very clear window into Chinese society. Honestly.
It is.
And the way the government works.
Yeah.
Why the hell would you block this person for doing something charitable like this, you know?
Isn't it so indicative that he started with a very small account, and I had followed him for his like money challenges.
I'd seen him before.
I was following him because I wanted to see what prices, like what supermarket prices and food prices. I was thinking about doing a video on food prices skyrocketing in China.
Because they have, yeah.
And I was watching some of his content on Bilibili. And I was very interested in this. And then all of a sudden, when I saw this kind of drama unfold, it made me realize, it hit me like a sack of bricks, that this is where we're at now. In China, there's no, remember the gray area?
Yeah.
The gray area, you kind of do what you want as long as you're not poking at the government. The threshold for poking the government is now at ground level.
The threshold is if too many people see what you're doing. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, it could be unrelated to the government.
Yeah, too many people, if you get too popular, then you're a danger. Shut you down.
FS in the chat says the Chinese government behaves like a personality disordered narcissist.
Yeah.
That's absolutely what it is. It's gotten to the point where Xi Jinping has surrounded himself with so many yes men, and there's zero potential for self-criticism now, that there is no room for change for the good. And this is, people are always like, this country's on a bad path or whatever. China is on a very, very dark path right now.
Correct.
I know we're using this one instance anecdotally, but it's indicative of a greater problem in China.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
It's dangerous.
Yeah. Anyway, let's.
The last thing I want to say is the reason that he started to get attention.
Yeah.
Was because there's a want and a longing in Chinese society for watching people that help each other. There's a need and want for that. People liked that feeling. That's why that video was taken off. Yeah. It was a nice thing to do, right?
Exactly, because everybody understands this struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah. China, there's a lot of struggle going on in China. A lot of people don't seem to realize this. If you've grown up in a first world country or whatever, things are kind of all already set. Sure, you do get struggles and difficulties in life, but in China, up until very recently, people were really struggling with poverty. Everybody has impoverished family members,
or people they know.
Yeah, and it's just one of those situations where everybody recognizes and understands what it's like.
Yeah,
at least of a certain age.
It's
group.
poor, dude.
Yeah.
Like China can look rich because you see those, those exchange students come over their Lamborghinis and stuff. That is not Chinese society.
No, those are just government connected, very rich people that come over. So it's like the top 1%.
Yes, the average person in China is not a grossly wealthy person.
No, not at all.
And this is, this shows that. And this is in a major rich city, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
So anyway, is there anything else you want to say about that?
Not really. I mean,
I think it's tragic.
Yeah, it's awful, the fact that he's been censored and blocked. And that's something people have to also realize is when you talk about government censorship, This is government censorship.
Yes.
You know, this is real government censorship. I know a lot of people like to rag on the West, like, oh, the government controls you, this and that. No, in China, they really do.
Yeah.
They really do control you. But please, guys, when you try to compare any kind of Western government censorship, remember, you can't compare it to the Chinese censorship at all, because it's just apples and oranges. You can complain about your government doing certain things, but man, it's got nothing on China, I'll tell you that.
No.